All right. So, this is a live stream. It'll go up at some point. Probably go an hour, but I will just start talking about whatever. Um, we of course coming off the week of last week where we had CM Punk and we had CM Punk debuting and the craziness that was about that and the craziness that happened because of that. The fact that so many people watched it, especially in the city of Chicago, um, was pretty impressive. And of course, we came off of that and we went right into what everyone was waiting for, which was Dynamite. And I'm not going to say Dynamite was a bad show because it wasn't a bad show. I think the problem with Dynamite was it was a disappointing show because, first of all, AW has continually put on like really great shows for like 2 months or so. And so when they put on like even a so-so show, it feels really bad. And they were coming off of a really big high. And I don't want to say they laid an egg, but I definitely don't think what they had planned hit in the right ways. You had a show which featured, a lot of people were probably going to tune in to see, like what CM Punk was going to be doing. So you put on Matt Hardy, you put on Christian Cage, you put on Billy Gunn, you go right that you put on Paul White, you go right down the line and you put on those people, and you feature them with young people that you either want to put over, like Orange Cassidy and so forth and so on. And the problem was that I think the show was laid out wrong. I think you could have done that show and laid it out better, and I think that would have helped. But it just felt very discontinued. Just not it. It didn't feel like as good as it was, and I think it was kind of a letdown for people. And that led to tonight's Rampage, and we had the the opening match, which was the tag title finals, I guess. The which was an awesome match. So a lot of people say, "Hey, that's the match that should have probably opened Dynamite." And while yes, I mean the problem is they'd already had this part planned out, so I completely understand, and they definitely wanted a match for Rampage. And I think one of the things that people don't necessarily get is that the way that Rampage is booked is definitely the old Saturday's main event way, where you front load the show, and the final segment is kind of just like the death segment in a lot of ways, and you saw that tonight definitely. But you had an awesome opening match, lots of cool spots. I'm a huge fan, of course, if you followed this channel for any length of time, the fact that I'm a huge fan of Penta, and I think he is one of the few guys they have that if they ever really need to, flip the switch and they need a main event, he's kind of that guy to do that with. So yeah, so I thought that was good. I thought most of the promo segments, much like on Dynamite, were like really good. I was looking forward to the Ty Conte match because that was the first, like TV match we've seen. She of course has been on Rampage, or not Rampage, but Dark and Dark Evolution. Still didn't pronounce it right. So her being with the bunny, and I'm not sure what their deal is with the bunny. I'm sure at some point maybe we'll figure it out, but she's not very good. And like until Ty Conte kind of took over, that match was like really bad, and then it had a really crappy finish, which didn't help either. And then of course we had the main event, which is basically a comedy match, which, like I said, that's pretty much the death segment for Rampage. I think it's just going to take people a while to kind of figure that out. But once people figure that out, I think it will be a little better. I still thought the show was really good. I thought progressed a lot of stuff. Mark Henry would be much better suited to be, I think, just doing like he does with the main events, where he basically interviews the two teams or the two people that that are getting ready to go out. I think that would be a better use for him, personally. But you know, that's pretty much what we got. You know, we WWE came off of like SummerSlam, and they tweeted out the big thing about SummerSlam and the fact of how successful SummerSlam was. And this is not like taking away from it, because it was definitely a massive successful show. But I think people need to take a step back and realize that, you know, this was also kind of WrestleMania in a lot of ways. And so I'm not saying you compare it to WrestleMania, because it's still not WrestleMania, but in a lot of ways, this was the WrestleMania show for this year. And so I do think that, you know, you're going to have more people watch it. It's going to bring in a massive gate. You're going to do all of that. And I think that, and that doesn't like take away from what they did, because business wise, they did really good. But I think people do need to kind of keep that in mind. Let's see, what do we got? Look at the guy on the ramp lose to his Screwboy matches. Yeah, that's that. That was more of like them yelling at each other, and in a lot of way, QT definitely instigated that. So it was kind of like that. Um, let's see. Bunny needs to be shipped back to Impact. I wouldn't say that. I think she has a role, but she's on TV way too much. See Darby Allin tear each other apart. Yeah, this should be fun. I'm wanting to wrestle in ROH. Since you don't watch WWE anymore, you might not know who he is. I do not know who he is. But yeah. But yeah. But we had that, which was kind of a big deal. I also think you had, yeah, we also had the whole Mystico thing, which I'm not even going to try to explain, because I don't think I can explain it. Basically, it comes down to the famous Mystico is now Mystico again, and the famous replacement Mystico is now, you know, probably going to go to ROH, which will probably be good. Really cool, which will probably be really cool. You know, he'll be joining his family, and I imagine that will be like really, 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 really good. Did I see the new NXT logo? I did. It is what it is. Yeah, it was very different. That's for sure. I showed it to my wife, and my wife was like, "That looks like something from the '80s," which, I mean, I guess in a lot of ways we're back into that thing where like the like '80s aesthetic are becoming a thing that it again. So yeah, Mystico. Well, kind of Mystico is a Mystico again, because the original Mystico is still not like, it's the second. I think it's the second Mystico is a Mystico again. I don't know. It's so hard to like figure out. Well, yes, that's easy to explain. That CMLL is a dumpster fire, which is amazing, because when you think about like where they were before the pandemic, I mean CMLL was easily, I'd say before the pandemic, you would say what, they were the third probably biggest promotion in the world, and right now, I mean, you know, they're still dealing with a lot of stuff. You know, they're like dumpster fire ain't the word for it. Like I would say, so you got WWE, AEW, I guess New Japan, um, what Dragon Gate or CMLL would be the other one, um, right? CMLL, and then, you know, and then wherever you're going to put in like, uh, you know, I wouldn't put ROH on that list in it, so I would say they're probably above ROH, but that's just but when you realize how big CMLL is and they've fallen that far, that's like not okay. Um, no, not the original. Not Sin Cara is now Mystico again. and then the guy that was playing Mystico is now who is Rush's and Dragon Lee's brother is now probably going to go to ROH. I would say I would suspect that that is probably going to be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, CMLL is going to be very interesting because it's like it's amazing like how bad it's gotten. And the thing is that I think it would have gone bad even without the pandemic because it was going that way before. So yeah, it's pretty crazy when you kind of like sit back and think about it. And I didn't talk about this the last time, and I should have, which was I did watch both Death Before Dishonor shows. I thought that it's weird. I think if they had done one show, I think that would have been really cool. But of course, that's never like that's not an ROH thing to do, kind of, and like traditionally. I think it would have been better, especially given what their roster is right now. But I definitely feel like, especially the second half of night two was pretty amazing. Honestly, but the first half was like really a nothing. Like nothing was going on. Um, it'll be interesting to see like or is Glory by Honor, not Death Before Dishonor. It was Glory by Honor. They're getting ready to go into Death Before Dishonor, which could be interesting. You could see a title change because Bandito doesn't need to necessarily lose, but yeah, but it was it kind of sucks that ROH can't seem to get there anymore. It can't seem to get people to go to their shows even with everything going on, because I really do feel like it's one of the even with the limited roster they have, it's like probably the best booked promotion, but with the roster they have, just no one's really paying attention. Okay, let's see. ROH becoming the luchador destination is fascinating, but not being able to tour until like recently, yeah, it kind of killed why you do those signings, since folks like Roosh helped Emily in Chicago successfully. A U.S. based promotion chasing the Hispanic market hard is very interesting. So if you remember, like the NWA back when they were like when 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 Adam Pearce was champion, they really pushed hard of trying to go after like the Hispanic market and bringing in luchadors and doing that. So they were kind of the first. I think it's a good idea. Like I like the fact that in AEW they let like um, the Lucha Bros, you know, they cut promos in Spanish, and it's fine. I would, I know that they wanted Bandito. I know they also wanted uh, Dragon Lee. I would imagine they would probably want Roosh. I mean, Roosh is what Roosh is in the ring, but the dude has such presence and such charisma that it's hard to like. Um, yeah, it's very different. It's very, very, very interesting, to say the least. Um, but I will say that like the women of honor thing, which I get why they're doing, but I feel like the women right now, this will probably change in like a couple months, but right now the especially women's like independent wrestling was so like picked over that it's they were basically left with the scraps, and so you're left. And that, not to say that some of the women aren't really good, because they are, but I think it's just like it comes off as just like, oh, this is nice, and that's kind of the extent of it. Um, do you think Brian challenges? What do you mean challenges Omega at All Out? He's not challenging Omega at All Out. That's going to be Christian. Um, Junior Goldberg stored correctly. An Emerald Park match drew up 2000 in Atlanta at one point. Yeah, I mean Atlanta would maybe. I mean I think once they start touring again, and I think once they like start doing their thing, I think it might be better. But we don't know. We don't know like at the end of the year what the contract situations are going to be like. So, looking from a WWE fans' perspective, why would they want AEW trashing on WWE constantly? Isn't the point of the no? Because if you go back and watch I said okay when everyone says they want the Attitude Era back, right? And a lot of those fans say they want the Attitude Era back. The Attitude Era did that all the time, and especially like ECW did it like constantly. That was like their thing, is they were always talking about WWE, um, WCW. They were talking about why their guys were better. I have no problem with that, especially since I don't think they say anything that's like way out of line. Really, I mean, and it's kind of fun in a way. So I don't mind that at all. Oh, at another date. Yeah, that's very possible. I've seen a lot of people say that. I wasn't online very much today. I know there was like I saw where somebody was reporting spoilers for his his debut. So, um, but I didn't see what it was. But yeah, he I could definitely see that. I could definitely see them wanting to do that match because that's probably a match that Daniel Bryan wants really, really bad, I would think. So, if anybody still cares about Impact Wrestling, I don't know. I mean, people still watch it, um, so Impact. The rest of the show is easy to skip. Yeah. Do you see Punk and Danielson becoming a team and facing? No, I don't. I don't think that will be the case at all. I think they're going to be probably kept apart. And then at some point, I would imagine probably kept apart for like a year, and then we get both of them in a match at next year's All Out. I can definitely see that being a thing. Um, you know, I don't think they want them. Maybe well, probably they might tag like every once in a while, just as like a special thing. But I don't think they're going to be a tag team. I would say I think we'll probably get other people for that. Personally, I would imagine. Um, yeah. But yeah. What else kind of is there to kind of talk about? Talked about the mystical thing. Talked about the ratings. Talked about you had the whole SummerSlam thing, which was pretty good. I ended up like being an idiot, and I spent a bunch of money on GCW merchandise today. So I might do a video when that comes in, kind of show you guys what I got. Um, it's very unusual for me, but not going to the GCW shows in Chicago. I did still want to like buy some stuff because yeah, I'm on kind of I don't want to say I'm on a merch kick currently, but there's just some stuff that I kind of wanted. So there we go. Do you see what's Mojo about the? I did not see what he said about that. No. Uh, Brock Lesnar is number one. Um, we'll see. Um, we'll see. What's the what's there to look forward to in AAA? I mean, there's still. I mean, at some point they're gonna do Omega and Psycho Clown, so there's that. You still have like Kingo versus just about anybody. The Lucha Bros. There's stuff to look forward to in AAA. The problem is that it's AAA, and so it's like so like you just watch it and forget about it. I can see Adam Cole debut at All Out during as he attacks Orange Cassidy. Maybe. I mean, the thing is, when he comes in, he's gonna be a face, and I know that. I mean, she's kind of like a face, kind of. But I don't think they want to do that. I think they'll keep them apart, and I think I bet they will have like a running joke, kind of like if you remember back the kind of the jokes they would do with Stephanie and Triple H back in the day. I bet we get kind of like that, kind of like a wink, wink, nod, nod type thing. Or they're just like, yeah, he's like, I know how she can be, but, I love her, so, whatever. But I think he'll definitely be a face when he comes in, which probably is not the best because I think he works better as a heel, but maybe, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, he does work better as a heel, so that part of it will be interesting for sure. But no, I think having him, his debut will be a big deal. Having him just come out to attack Orange Cassidy is not the biggest thing, I would say. And I would hold it off for a TV show anyways. I wouldn't do it on a pay-per-view. So there we go. Who out of the AEW talent should Danielson face first? Homegrown talent. Are we considering so let's see, homegrown talent. Who should he face first? I would say probably Orange Cassidy. I would think would be that would be kind of a cool little feud, maybe. So yeah, maybe Orange Cassidy. Now, when I'm sitting here, kind of thinking about it, would probably be kind of would be he. It's hard because people have so many other like stuff that they want to see that's not like that. So, what's up with New Japan? COVID is what's up with New Japan. End of story. Done. You can't. I mean, that's kind of what I mean. I think like New Japan Strong is going to be probably the thing to watch until things get whatever in Japan, because I think it's going to be a lot better. I think it's going to be more of what we've been expecting from New Japan. I think that's where you're going to see it. So there you go. Who should beat Miro for the belt? I've seen people say Eddie Kingston. I think that would be okay. So yeah, I think Eddie Kingston would be okay, but I don't know. I think the gimmick is really good. I would just have him. Yeah, if he was gonna beat him, he should beat him in New York, anyways. But I think them doing the pay-per-view at All Out kind of says that they're not going to do that. So maybe they will. Maybe they'll do like a rematch or something at the pay-per-view. But and that means we might get a screwy finish at All Out, which I'm not a big fan of that. But I don't know. I think Miro right now is like gold. I really do. I think he is like absolutely awesome right now. So I don't know. I don't know if now is the time to take the belt off of him. Heard you saying about Bandito would not be ROH champion for much longer. Who do you think will defeat? Oh, no. I it's not that I don't think that he's going to be champion for much longer. I think that the reason why they're doing a 4-way is I could see them wanting to take the belt off of him and put it on somebody else without him losing, maybe. There's a reason why they're doing the 4-way, and it's an elimination. So we'll see. We'll see kind of how it goes. To me, the best guy for them to have the belt, if he's healthy, and that's not a question, would be Roosh, but yeah. Would you be down for a Murphy versus Ray Phoenix versus Hiromu match for the junior title sometime? I'd be down for that. I kind of wish they'd get rid of the junior title. I know they never will, but I think I get in Japan it's a thing, but I'm over that. I'm over there being junior titles. So, what matches should be at the Arthur Ashe show? No idea. I think we'll have a better idea after All Out, especially, yeah. I think after All Out, we'll have a better idea. I would imagine some of those matches will be. I definitely think you need an Eddie Kingston match and a big time Eddie Kingston match. So I could see there being a Miro thing for that. You definitely need a big. Maybe you do MJF versus Omega at that show too. I think that would be, a big deal. Um, uh, let's see who else. Maybe that's where you do Young Bucks versus the Jurassic Express. Um, I don't know. It needs to be a pay per view level show, so it just kind of, I think, depends. Shave the beard? No, that's not up to me. So I need to trim it though. I do need to trim it. I could see Jungle Boy being the one to beat Nero. I could definitely see that. Could you see Bobby Fish have another good run in ROH? Or Bobby Fish could have a run anywhere he wants, without question. I mean, if when people tell you how old Bobby Fish is, I think most people are like, "He's what? He's not that old," and yet he is. So, I think that would be fine. Uh, when would you want Hangman to return? Whenever he wants to return. I mean, oh, they haven't even had their kid yet, so a couple of weeks after that, maybe. I mean, you leave it up to him. I think that's what you do. What could you? What could make you start watching WWE again? No clue. No clue. A complete change of everything they do, pretty much. I mean, the stuff. Even it's not like I don't know what goes on, because you can't like follow wrestling and not know what's going on. But the way they do things is very boring to me. Um, the Saudi Arabia thing really bothers me, even though like if if this okay, so let's say they didn't go to Saudi Arabia. Let's say 2 years from now, they wanted to go to Saudi Arabia, and AEW had kept growing the way it did. That would be different, in my opinion, because now you have a legitimate like competitor. Um, and that would be different. But that's not the case. And if you don't have to deal with Saudi Arabia, I have a really bad. I don't feel like you need to be doing that. So, who is your favorite Joshi singles and tag wrestlers of all time? I don't know about tag. I mean, Toyota is pretty much my favorite. Aja Kong might be my actually favorite. It'd be either Kong or Toyota. Um, what would you consider AEW's biggest show? Double or Nothing, or to me, it's All Out. But I know that they put both of them kind of on the same thing. To me, and with the fact that All Out seems to be the bigger show as far as like other things going on around it, I think that really needs to be their bigger show. But there you go. Also, would you take a risk at running a stadium if you were Tony Khan, given how hard that is? Oh yeah, I would take that risk. I don't see anything wrong with that. You convince TV's wrestlers as a product and not as a people. The thing about the Nick Khan interview is Nick Khan was basically being the shield for Vince McMahon, which he said he was. I mean, he's being a business guy who happens to be, the number two guy in the WWE corporation. He's not a pro wrestling guy. So I think people trying to make him a pro wrestling guy is kind of a mistake. Thank you. Yeah, my birthday was almost a month ago. So yeah. But thank you. So yeah, there is that. There definitely is that as far as, and I think people kind of like the people he replaced. Um, I think you know nobody ever really got upset about them, but I think he's just more visual. Not visual. He's more like out there than they were. So I think that's one of the things. But I also, he definitely, is trying to be what Vince, trying to shield Vince McMahon from, the decisions that people don't like. So it is what it is. That's where I would go with that part of it. What else is there to talk about? But yeah, so because I'm sure people will ask, because people will be like, "Hey, where's the videos?" I will be in Chicago. I'm gonna be there Thursday through. I'll come back Monday. So yeah, so don't expect like unless while there we do videos, which I don't know if we're doing or not. So that's not gonna be on me. Don't expect to see anything. I will tweet or sort of stuff. But yeah, so I'll be there for Rampage and All Out. We kind of we initially thought about going to the War Game show for GCW, but given the venue it was in, we decided not to do that. Which I'm kind of glad. But I did want to be able to at least go to one. I've never been to a GCW show, and I'd like to go to at least one. So yeah, so there is that, and of course there's all sorts of other things going on, there too. So yeah, WWE is only going to get more. Yeah, I think they're going to be being more openly corporate. I don't think they're going to be more corporate. I think there's going to be more openly corporate. They've been corporate for probably since like 2006, probably I would say. Which if you look at like I think the 2K stuff, I think that's probably one of the problems with the 2K stuff is that I'm sure the last whichever the whichever WWE game was that that Ukes didn't do, the first one that Ukes didn't do. I think it's if you read kind of through the lines, it's pretty evident that 2K wanted to be able to delay the game, and WWE told them no. And because you're seeing that now, where they let them delay it this time, so there is that. Glad Jim Cornette isn't so sour lately. I don't listen to Jim Cornette a lot. I listened to him, of course, when Bobby Eaton died. I did listen to to his comments on the Punk return. I think part of it is that I think a lot of like the anti like new modern wrestling thing. I think some of that is a gimmick, and I think some of it is like him believing the gimmick in a lot of ways. And I think that there's only so much of that you can kind of do, right? I mean, that's kind of the way that goes. Let's see what else. We've got the NWA shows coming up. I can care less about the is it the 70-year anniversary or the 70-year NWA show? There's virtually, I don't think there's anything on that show I want to see. I mean, I think it's cool that Ric Flair is going to be on it, but Ric Flair being on it's not enough for me to spend money on it. I think the women's show looks better. Which another show I probably won't watch, but I hope it does well. I do hope it does well. I might buy it just because I want to support it. But yeah, that's that is that is the case for that. You've got the and it's the All Out. It now looks like it's going to be really, really good. So I do think that Omega and Christian will main event. I think they'll put Punk and Darby probably third or fourth from the top. Probably fourth. I bet it'll be the fourth from the top. I would think. The let's see what else. I know people were disappointed that Kojima is the one going to take on Moxley, and I get that, but I also think that it's very evident that New Japan needed Tanahashi, um, so I understand that, and I still think that'll be a good match. I think people forget how good Kojima is, and I think the fact that it's a Moxley match and the fact that Moxley matches can be kind of smoke and mirrors, I think it'll help. I think that'll be a surprise match for a lot of people. Do you think Big Show QT should be pre-show? No, I don't. I think that this is Big Show's like first match in AEW. You put it on pay-per-view. I wouldn't have it go very long. I think everybody kind of knows what's going to happen. I think you're going to have it's basically going to lead to a go-go, right? Not a go-go. The boxer dude coming out and probably knocking Big Show out or doing something to Big Show, and them having some sort of match at some point. I think that's probably where this is going. Though where I think it's going is I do think we're gonna eventually get like I think possibly a Big Show and Shaq tag, or the Big Show and Shaq match that we've been waiting for years and years and years and years and years for. I think is the other thing that will probably happen. Yeah, so there is that too. But the only besides the Big Show match, which I'm kind of like about. The only match that I was I'm kind of disappointed and kind of down on is the women's championship match, because I like Statlander, but that match just and they've, if you really follow like Dark Elevation, it's pretty clear that this is kind of where they were going, and they've set it up really nice, but it still just feels like because that's not the match everybody wants. And it's when it's like that, it just overshadows, because it's like, can we get through this match, because this isn't the match that we wanted. So there you go. And and I was somebody that had really defended the AEW women, because a lot of green women. It was a lot of stuff where you just couldn't have them on TV. And now that the division is a little stronger, I don't think they've handled the division very well since they've gone back on the road at all. I mean, Britt is super over, and she's like holding the division, and I think that was always the plan. But it's just like week after week. It's like tonight, like we had Ty Conte, which a lot of people like, but then you had her with the bunny, and it's like, why is the bunny like the go-to like person to be on TV? Same thing with the Blade. I kind of get, because the Blade is good enough to where that's not a problem. I think but there are better people, I think, that you can put on to have matches like that, personally. But I guess it is what it is. I guess kind of a wait and see type thing. So it is kind of what it is. Let's see, what else is there to talk about, really? Not much. Not much at all. The MJF and Jericho match is interesting, in my opinion, because I think that match will probably have a lot of, I think fans will be really into that match because of the stip, and because AEW has really kept to to their steps, it makes this match seem that much bigger. So yeah. How is Ryan Satin? See, I don't know because he has me blocked. So Satin has me blocked. So I can't tell anything that he says. I guess I could just, um, find another way to look because I can do that. But yeah. Are you going to watch Walter and Dragunov? I will probably, yes, I will watch it. I just haven't watched it yet, but I will watch it sometime this week. So yeah, I should have the time after Sunday. Sunday will not be the day, but yeah. Statement of the NWO Horseman parody was fun. You can think that all you want. Lots of people think that, but I never liked it and pretty much turned me off of WCW, especially when the way everything kind of went down. Not my thing at all. But yeah, I think when you look, I think when you look at All Out, I think All Out is probably going to shake up to be a much better pay per view than most people think. So yeah, I think that will be something without a doubt. Not sure what else to talk about. What else have I been doing? Started playing Cyberpunk again, which I know is probably shocks people because most people can't. It's so glitchy and so crappy for most people. But my computer will play it fine, and so yeah. So I'm playing through that again. Any chance of AEW signing Pete Dunne now that his contract is on? Possibly. I that wouldn't shock me. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to start being a little bit more choosy, probably about who they sign. And the thing with Pete Dunne is he's a guy who could easily kind of get lost because if it would be really easy, I'm not going to say he would be like a mid carder because he'd probably wind up being like an upper mid card guy in there. So yeah, have you played a FromSoft game? Not that I'm aware of, but I've played a ton of games that I could not tell you like anything about because I basically just like play the stuff that I think looks fun, so or the stuff that I'm like really like. So you would have to explain to me what I'm sure that's a company, but yeah. But yeah, I play a lot of Elder Scrolls Online. That's like the one online game I play. And then a lot of RPGs. Magistra, is that I think that's the one I've been playing. The one that's very. What do you think of the the Spider-Man trailer is awesome. Spider-Man trailer is if it is setting up the Sinister Six, especially the ultimate version of the Sinister Six, I would be all about that. Oh, like Dark Souls, Bloodborne. I have Dark Souls. I really like Dark Souls. I have not played the other two. I really wanted to play Bloodborne, but I don't have a PlayStation, so I cannot play that. I think it's too soon for Rosa versus Baker, but I could see Sol Conte or Rio and D being the next few opponents before then. Yeah. What's next for Malachi Black? I have no clue. I mean, I'm sure they're just going to keep feeding him people. Well, you know what? It probably would be Dustin. Would probably be the next, I would think, person for Malachi Black, and then go for there. I would say that I would have, and this is the tricky. So maybe have Kingston be the one to beat Miro, and then Black be the one to beat Kingston, like not too soon after. Or you could just do Miro and Black. That would be fucking awesome. Just have two heels just kind of going at it. I think that would be fine. But yeah. But yeah, I like Dark Souls a lot. But I also like Monster Hunter. I'm a big Monster Hunter fan. And then the Gundam games, especially the SD Gundam games. Um, I love those. I have pirated so many of those so that I could actually get the good ones that have all of the other super robots in them. So yeah, because I just watched Adam Savage from MythBusters. He has a YouTube page where he does model kits, and I love model kits. If you could see the rest of where I'm at, there's model kits scattered everywhere and miniatures scattered everywhere, that are in the process of being built or painted or whatever. And he did a beyond a perfect grade uh, Gundam kit, and he'd never done one before, even though he'd heard about it. And just watching him, and it's weird because there's a lot of people that are younger than me, especially like in their 20s. Um, when you They don't get this, but the Gundam model kits are amazing in ways that you just do not understand. If you mess with like other kits, you mess with like any miniatures, any plastic models, anything like that. The fact that those kits don't need to be painted, can be snapped together. Don't only snap together, but they're like super tight fit. I mean, everything. And he was like going through it and just could not believe like the level of detail and the fact that they are so much fun to build as you're like building up and all of those things, which is why I like them. But yeah, I'm sure you guys are like, why is he talking about freaking Gundams? But yeah, um, but that was pretty cool to see, just to see him kind of mark out while he was like building this thing, which was a special edition one, so it was like not even like a regular one, but you could tell that like he would even like building those, because if you build a regular model kit, you're sanding, you're clipping, you're once you're done, before you paint it, because you're gonna have to paint it, you're gonna have to take putty to it so you can fix the lines that don't do it, or even take a hair dryer to it so you can like remold it. I mean, there's all sorts of like stuff like that I'm sure none of you actually care about, but I went on that little rampage. um yeah, exactly. It's like I start talking about geeky stuff, and like, even though there's more people here than there have been. um but yeah. Let's see, what else is there to I play a lot of Fire Pro, still, because that game is fun. So my thing with the gun, here's my thing with and I get it. Which is the better wrestle match, Osprey versus Okada or Shingo and Cobb? See, I personally like Shingo and Cobb better, because that's just the kind of matches I like. But I do think Osprey and Okada is probably the better match. Um, and speaking of that, yeah, I do think that Kingston and Miro will be. I really, really, if just from what we kind of saw from tonight, I think we're gonna get like an ode to '90s All Japan, which will be amazing, because that's not something that really you see in AEW at all. So that type of match. So that will be, I think, really, really cool, and a lot of fun, and all of that sort of just craziness that yeah, that we'll see. But I think it's going to be a crazy night anyways. I'm really looking forward. This is going to be the first live wrestling event I've been to in forever, and first pay per view I've been in. I can't even remember when. But yeah, do you think that Bushi Road will start an American school for Stardom like they did New Japan proper? Maybe, but here's the thing. I think the 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 reason why they kind of, because you have to remember that they started they had the LA dojo before, and then they stopped it. I think that the issue was is that they were having so many, people from Europe and the United States, um, that they wanted to teach and that they wanted to have a school for that wasn't in Japan. I think that was the bigger thing. I don't think that's the same deal with the women, unfortunately. So maybe at some point, but I don't see that happening like anytime soon, um, because I don't see that. So that's a good question though. That's a really really good question. So yeah, yeah. So oh, and we're getting, well, I will be watching probably almost as much as I can of the Suzuki like Indie Tour or whatever you want to call it. I mean, the fact that he's going to take on Jonathan Gresham to me is like amazing. The Garcia match was one of the first ones that they announced. Garcia's about to get his big boy pants, without a question. And then and then we're even getting like Suzuki versus Homicide, which that's just a wild, crazy, awesome sounding match. Even if it winds up not being so good. I think it's hard for Suzuki to have a bad match with anybody, though. I think his style meshes with just about anything. And I think that will be really good. I figure we're probably going to see him in AEW. I just can't imagine him not being in AEW. I can't imagine that that would be happening. The double unhook backbreaker in the game. I have no idea how to use the move creator. It looks incredibly complicated. I love the move. I would just, if you have it on Steam, I would just go to see if anyone has created the move, and just add it to the game. That's what I would do. But I don't know how it works either. Like that's basically what I do is I go through and I've modded the game too, so that it would be easier for me to add, all of the saved wrestlers into where they should be and all of that, since they made it very difficult, which I kind of get, but still. Do you think Omega is the weakest AEW World Champion so far? Not saying he's bad. I think his reign has been kind of a weak reign, because I think, but I think there's a lot of factors to that. But I definitely think his reign has been weak. I would say that. What, Markeem? What? Of course, my mind got blown away today because I'm sure none of you care. But there's a show on Nickelodeon that my youngest daughter watches, and my oldest daughter too, for that matter. The Loud House, and they're making which is animated, and they're making a live action version, which is like completely blows my mind. But yeah, that's completely crazy. Yeah, I think everybody wants him on TNT before he goes back. Why? I don't know. It's some Christmas special they're doing, and I mean, the characters all look like the Loud family characters. It's all of the main people. It's not what's his name's Latin girlfriend that now I guess where she lives in New York or wherever now. I would hope that she's in the show, but everybody pretty much looks like everybody, and it looks like they've got the characters in. So I don't know why they're doing it. It seems really weird, but I watched the new movie on Netflix. That was fun. So it's one of those shows when people say that oh, it's a kid's show. It's one of the ones I would say go watch that, because yeah, that's a kid's show, but it's really really good. and it works on like so many layers. It's not funny. It's like very layered. It is a family show. It's layered on many layers of funny and stuff. I would say, yeah, I would definitely say that. Oh, Marquine, have you seen the new What If? The newest one? That one's wild. That one's crazy. That to me is very much like what that captures what if is. Um, I know it's Osprey, but imagine if he pops up. I could see him being on Dynamite. I could definitely see him being on Dynamite. Oh yeah, I watched it and loved it because it was like for anyone that doesn't know, I'm sure most of you know that Disney is now doing their What If series, which is like what if things changed and you get different stories from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Originally comic, I think there's been probably like 4 different versions of it over time. And the best stories are kind of like the one that was just aired, which was what if the Avengers had never been assembled, or at least assembled as we knew them. And it is absolutely awesome because it's very much like you can see exactly what happened. Did you notice Hank was wearing it? Yes. Which I think makes absolute sense. Like it was just like all of it was just like was you could just see it all like played out. I'm like I didn't want like so the first episode, spoilers, the first episode was all about Peggy being Captain America instead of Steve, which was really good. I shouldn't say really good. It was good, but it wasn't that much different. It was just kind of like, it was just a different story, right? The second one I thought was a really good ode to what they were trying to do, but I thought the story wasn't very good. I liked what they were trying to do, but it was clever. It was clever, but it was just kind of like, but I got what they were trying to do too. That was more of like a that was I would consider like a special episode is how I would consider that. Yeah, the third one is like that is what if would be like the comics. For those of you who don't know, the comics would be like my favorite would be like what if the alien costume, basically the Venom costume, had consumed Peter Parker. That's like one of the best ones ever. There's one where it's what if, because at one point Marvel has it now, but before Marvel had the comic rights to Conan, and so they did what if Conan had battled Thor had battled Conan, something like that. And that is an awesome issue. There's like the very first like what if they ever did was what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four, and how that would play differently, or what if Spider-Man had stopped the guy that robbed the guy that ended up killing his uncle. There's all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, but that third episode, that was like so good. Like I was trying to figure out like what's going on, and then it was like, oh, that's what's going on. This is like, and it all made sense in the end. It was so good. And then you got that closing scene was just so good. So yeah, that was good. That one was good too. What if Wolverine had killed the Hulk? That was good too. I'm wondering if we ever get like if they do some weird stuff with it too. Like what if instead of getting the Hulk, that Bruce basically turned into like maybe like Mr. Fix-It instead, and we got that as the Hulk. I kind of wonder if we'll do like something funny like that. But yeah, um, that's that's a really, really, really good. You, Mark, you said you'd seen. Oh, well, I should just say this that but yeah, it's all right. But yeah, I really, really liked that episode a lot. I liked that episode. So, see, Markeem, you showed up after I went on my Gundam rant. I don't know if you saw this. I know you're not like a big Gundam model person, but Adam Savage from MythBusters actually built his first like he got a special like perfect grade Gundam, beyond perfect grade actually, and he was able to build it, and it was absolutely awesome. Yeah, that was good. Actually, that reminds me. It was what if Frank Castle became Captain America or the second Captain America? No, that's not it. It's what if Steve Rogers refused to give up the Captain America mantle, and then um, Frank Castle becomes the Punisher or becomes Captain America instead of John Smith. So yeah, or John, not John Smith, whatever his name is, the second Captain America, and yeah, that one's really good too. That one's really, really, really good. So actually, the first one in a comic kind of way, the one that was what if, which was the second series, the first one of the John Walker, the second series, which was what if the high evolutionary had won the evolutionary war, which to 90% of the people that are in here right now, that will mean absolutely nothing. But that one was absolutely awesome, just because of the way that played out. But yeah, no, I was just gonna talk about something. What am I gonna talk about? Yeah, because if you know the story, so the Eternals trailer came out, and we're getting Celestials. We're actually they're actually going down the line of that they're going to have to probably decide between saving Earth, because the 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 thumbs up, thumbs down is probably coming, and it will be real. That will be something really, really cool. I think. I don't. I probably that seems like it's going to be like the most comic booky of all of the movies that we've gotten so far, because the Eternals are pretty much like that, anyways. But yeah, yeah, I don't know what else to really talk about. Yeah, but huh? Why would I make a how am I gonna make a? Why would I make a Macho Man Randy Savage video now? Yeah, well, I mean, there's still the gloves aren't fully off. There's still I can think of there's still one that we haven't seen, that I think that's when the gloves will be off, and we haven't seen that person yet. Was what if Sabretooth killed Wolverine and was left with Jubilee in the mansion? Yeah, no, because we've already kind of gotten Galactus. I think we'll just get a better version of Galactus, even though I completely got the is the Undertaker going to be WWE champion one more time? Nope. I think he's done. I think he's finished, kaput. I think he's finally gone. Um, yeah, but I could go on a Jubilee rant. I could definitely go on a Jubilee rant. I know you heard of Ninja Gaiden, but have you heard of? I've heard of it. I've never played it. I have Ninja Gaiden. I have Ninja Gaiden Black. Um, and yeah, I have never gotten rid of that game. So, um, but no, we if we ever get um Switch. I do not have a Switch, so no. Um, like if so here's the one that I think if we got would be in the Marvel universe, and he would only, and I think if he showed up, he would only show up in one person's movies. And I think then the gloves would be off. Would be if you got Marvel Dracula. So that would be the one, because Marvel Dracula is very different from any other Dracula. It's very very different, especially if you get like pre-90s Dracula. Yeah, that's like, I mean, because that's basically, even though he was never a Doctor Strange villain, he would be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He would definitely be a Doctor Strange villain without question, because he pretty much is awesome. Um, but yeah, he would be like full off. Like, of course, we're getting a Blade something, so who knows? And they're coming out with that new. I think that's, I don't. Wolverine. I I think it's probably Fantastic Four if he doesn't show up in some kooky way in the next Doctor Strange movie. Oh yeah, he's definitely not he's a good big bad. Because thing is, once the Fantastic Four come in, then you know what the next big bad is going to be, because there's only one, unless and I think what we're going to wind up getting is, I think, because we already got Kang. I think we're going to get Kang. I think we're going to start getting Fantastic Four villains until we get up to the Fantastic Four villain. Huh? Loki? Yeah, I liked Loki. I thought Loki was fine. It was different, but I thought it was fine. Um, it definitely set up a lot of stuff. Yeah, it was just different. I think, I don't think it was. Yeah, that last episode is, I think, for a comic book fan, the last episode of Loki is something to see what it is, but have zero interest in the upcoming Injustice movie. Might have to do with the games already, telling the story already. I don't know. It depends. If the movie tells the story, so I don't know anything about the movie, but is the movie going to be um the game, or is it going to be the comics, which is what led up, which is the comics lead up to the game? I think that would be. Oh, it is the comic though. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff, because most people don't know it, and that's like really really good stuff, because it explains kind of like how everything got to where it gets to. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Marvel's Dracula was mostly big in like the 70s and 80s, because once they got to the 90s, they kind of changed the character, and he became less of a he was very much in the 70s and 80s. He was Doctor Doom as a vampire. And then in the 90s, they just turned him into kind of what he was in Blade 3, which he was basically just a vampire god. So yeah. Which of the old Image Comics 90 series would it best fit for a modern movie? Honestly, either probably Youngblood actually. Um, though Wildcats. I don't know because Wildcats gets weird. I was gonna say Cyberforce. Cyberforce could probably work too because you're dealing with, especially if you do like original Cyberforce. I don't think the newest version of Cyberforce would work, but I think if you did, I think Cyberforce, but Youngblood I think would work too. Um, Marvel had a storyline where they killed off all vampires with the spell book. Yes, yes, they did, and they also had, you know, but Gen 13 was good. I liked Gen 13, especially at the start. I for J. Scott Campbell, like, personally, Danger Girl was my thing with him, because that was just so good. Um, but I think he's the one that did Danger Girl. Yeah, he did Danger Girl, right? Yeah, but yeah. The yeah, where they killed off the vampire. They killed off the vampires before they killed off all the mutants, right? And then when the mutants came back, the vampires came back, right? Right? I think that's right. I don't know. There's a whole section of that where, yes, he did make it. That's what I thought. But my mind's old. Oh, Strangers in Paradise? That shit needs to be adapted like yesterday. 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 Like that needs to be like a cable company, like a cable channel needs to bring that shit, like, because people would go crazy over that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean it's better than Joe Mad, who never really finished freaking uh, Battle Chasers. That's never gonna get done. So, yeah, I thought the vampires were first, and then brought back the mutants. They brought back the vampires. Jubilee was a vampire, and but it's comics. This is true. I got an RPG, and I got a pretty good RPG too, because that's a pretty good RPG. I think it's on Xbox. I think it's one of the Xbox games, right? Yeah, it's one of the Xbox games. Yeah, you can get for free. Um, yeah, I know, but still, still, Battle Chasers was awesome. I mean, I guess Skull Kickers kind of like replaced it, but Skull Kickers isn't as good. So yeah, I think it still is. I think it's still on Game Pass. I think I could probably look right now. I love that game though. That game is so much fun. Um, it's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Um, I wish we could get remember the wish we could get some like comic book RPGs that were as good as like the original like Marvel and X-Men RPGs that were so good. Oh yeah, I've seen it. The last one's worth seeing because it sets up like it makes sense that there's been the long wait between seasons because of the way that it ended. Because really, you could start it like late 80s and it would be fine because of kind of how it ended and where it probably needs to go. Um, I would say, I would think, right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really like Stranger Things is so good, so good. So was what was the creator of Stranger Things? What was that? I don't like this. I think, or I'm not okay with this. I think was the name of it. Where it was 30-minute episodes. They were on Netflix. That one didn't get renewed, unfortunately. That one was really good, and it was kind of weird because you kind of got the it would I don't know. You could see where that could be tied into Stranger Things in a lot of ways. So, but it is what it is. That happens. That happens. Just like all the people that got mad about. Yeah, I know. But it's just like all the people that got mad over the Masters of the Universe thing of it. Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe, which I'm like, why? Ever played? Yes. Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, I really like that. It's it's really good. I think the thing is that people think of it as like a they see it and I'm sure that they think it's Dragon's Age and they think Dragon's Age and it's really not the same. Um, in some ways it's a little better, in some ways it's not as good. So yeah, I thought it was really good too. I my one thing, and I really hope when the second part comes out, and no Dark, yeah, the Dark, but I kind of knew that going in because Dark Crystal was really expensive. I when it came out, like it was gonna have to be like really really like catch on and popular for them to like keep going with it. So but yeah, Masters of the, like I really liked it. I was never big on Masters of the Universe either, even though that's like my time. I mean, I know about it, not know about it, but I'm like you know I knew the whole thing, so it all made sense to me. And my one thing is the, the second part has to have, and I don't think it will. It has to have Shira, and I don't think it will. So yeah, but the Dark Crystal one was really good. I really like that. But going into that, a lot of, like Netflix let it be known that it needed to be like really, 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 yeah, really, really popular because it was expensive to make. Um, you would think so because they basically based it on the way that the first part ended with Masters of the Universe. It would make sense for her to show up. It would just it makes sense. Thoughts on the new NXT logo? I don't watch NXT, so I couldn't tell you about the rebranding at all. The logo though looks, yeah, that I maybe younger people will like it. I don't know. Yeah, it's a gloriously. You should look it up, Marquis. You should look up that new logo because you won't even believe it if you saw it. It's 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 yeah. It's it's something special. I have none. I mean, people are already mad about it, which I don't understand because everybody. I mean, it is. What the hell is that? Told you that. Yeah, but I was never a big Cowboy Bebop fan. My wife is, but she hates remakes of anything. She hates making stuff live action. She doesn't like any of that stuff, and so like she's not a fan. But I think out of like any of the major animes, with the exception of Gundam, especially the original Gundam, Americanizing Cowboy Bebop is probably the easiest thing to do without getting into some of the more Japanese things that can like just go over people's heads or get boring. So yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, the thing is, here's the thing. NXT needed to be two separate things at the same time. They couldn't just keep being a super indie and not producing talent that WWE felt like, or that that Vince or Dunn or any of his flunkies felt like they could use. And they hadn't done that really. I mean, it is it's. Have I watched Monster anime? Monster? I have not watched Monster. I don't watch almost any anime, any like modern anime. You can ask Markeem. Markeem will tell you that like getting me to watch modern anime is like not okay. Um, but but yeah. But with the rebranding of NXT, I think the issue really is that it's being probably what it needed to be, but that as a TV show is gonna suck ass. I mean, so Stanley #1, whatever. Um, but yeah, but but yeah, to the person, I can't remember who that was. With the Strangers in Paradise as a that whole universe being on TV would be completely awesome to me. Awesome, because I love those characters. I absolutely love those characters. Love them, love them. It would be like getting comic book, a true comic book adaptation on TV of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which we've come close a few times, but they've never, because it's hard, because people are like, oh, that's a kid show, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like in their original incarnation, is definitely not a kid's thing at all. So yeah, you can't do that. So yeah. Anything else? Anything else anyone wants to know? Feels bad for Triple H, and I thought I'd never say that. See, here's the thing: you wonder if Shane and Heyman kind of look at each other and are like, "Yeah, he fucked it up." It'll be like ROH pays good, and so I think it'll be fine for that. So they're definitely moving to FCW. That's the whole point. Um, I definitely think that the thing is, if you look at their current roster, and maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they're looking at their current roster and they're like, "Hey, none of these people are stars," without actually looking at themselves and being like, "Hey, we haven't made any of these people stars." Um, oh no, I think it's more of like they probably figure that they could have done it better, because I mean, what they wanted was more of what OVW was on, but get polishing it up and putting it on TV, which I firmly believe there's a reason why OVW is not on the network. I will just say that. but whatever. Um, you know, there's a lot of older, like, there's OVW was like so much, and maybe that was more to do with JR and Patterson and who else was scouting talent? The other people that were scouting talent at the time might have been more to do with them. I don't know, but like nobody has been made. So that's no, not Cornette. Briscoe. I mean, I don't think Cornette was actually scouting. I think he was just like training. Though Heyman was the one that wanted Punk to come in. So when he took over OVW. Gee, want to have a giant round robin tournament with the roster they still had to be. Now, U.S. people, I don't think U.S. fans would like the round robin stuff. I don't think so. Oh, Jupiter's Legacy? See, I liked Jupiter's Legacy. I thought it was actually, in some ways, better than the comic because I think it fixed some of the issues of the comic, but people didn't like the flashbacks, which you kind of needed so that you understood exactly what kind of where the story was going to go, because it looked like the story was going to go in a much better place than it went in the comics. So yeah, like you could do a single elimination tournament with lots of guys, and I think that would be fine. You have more than enough TV to do that. So do you think JR is doing any scouting officially for AJ? I don't think so. I doubt it. I mean, he probably sees some guys, but I mean, he's not going to the indies all the time, and that's where they're getting most of their guys. I mean, he's going to watch a lot of like collegiate wrestling, and like, how are they going to get any collegiate wrestlers really? So, you know. It is. It is what he should be doing in backstage interviews and other things. So, who do you like as first homegrown top babyface? I mean, isn't that Darby, or would it be? I mean, it'd either be Darby or Hangman, really. Yeah. See, I think one of the things with JR is I think he feeds off the crowd. So I think when there's like a hot crowd, he's a lot better because I think he feeds off of them. And when there's not a hot crowd, I think it's hard for him now to go with it, because you know what AW does is not his type of wrestling. But I think if there's a hot crowd, then it's like, hey, the fans are into it, I can be into it, type of thing. I wonder if he's secretly a Nick Gage fan. How long before New Day leaves to get that Elite Dream match? I don't know, because I don't know what kind of contract. I wish they would leave. Of course you think Kingston should win it all out. No. You know who should beat Kingston? Black should beat Black should beat Miro, not Kingston. I know you disagree. See, I don't. I wish New Day would leave, because it's very evident that they're never like they would leave and all of a sudden they would be like massive. Yes. If he's gonna win, he should win in New York, not at All Out. Maybe. Like, I find it hilarious. This is what I find hilarious. Because okay, so with the whole Becky thing, this is the way I see it. Since she's apparently gonna wind up on Raw, if she's still a heel, you know they're gonna make Charlotte face because that's who they see as like the star, and there's a good chance Charlotte's not gonna be a lifer, and Becky is. It's absolutely kind of crazy. Give Eddie all the belts. No, Eddie Eddie doesn't even need a belt. Wait until he has a real match, and then you'll see. Apparently, when she's done with the Bianca feud, she's going to Raw. That's the rumor, at least. Christian has his first 5-star match against Omega. I might laugh. I could see that because I definitely think they left stuff on the table. No, she's not. She is not. She is a much better heel, but I think that Dunn and Vince see her as like, that's who we need to be our star. That's who needs to be the center of our women's division. And so they want her to be a babyface, and she's just not good at being a babyface. Well, I think the first time that Black has a real match and not him just squashing people, you'll see why people like him so much. Yes, she needs to be a heel. Becky needs to be a face. Bailey needs to be a face. Sasha needs to be a heel. This isn't hard. This is not hard. I don't get why they make it so hard. At least until they're like 50. After 50, they make good baby faces. But that's really. All right. I think I'm done. I've gone for like an hour and a half. Um, Talked about most of the things. I really, really, really need to before I do these. I need to like write down everything I want to talk to. So because I'm sure I forgot stuff, and then I can just add the geeky video game and comic book stuff as time permits. Or I could come on here and talk about like um, is this the one? That's the like role playing stuff that I have. Like this. This is awesome. Um, or this. This is even more awesome. This is a whole book of nothing but traps. Traps, traps, more traps, traps and traps, traps and more traps. And shit falls over. But anyways, all right. What fell? Oh, zombie Finn Balor fell. Stay. The WWE magazine. I think I was when I was like a kid. I think I was subscribed to the magazine. I think, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was. For like a year. I think. I think I got it for Christmas one year, or my birthday, or something like that. Where I was. I think. But that would have been the only one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else do I have? Because I got, and then there's like dudes like this that I've got sitting around. I'm still working on him. And all the other geeky stuff I have, all the Cthulhu crap that I have hanging from everywhere, and all of that sort of stuff. But anyways, I've rambled on. Hour and a half is long enough. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for everybody that I'm sure people will look at the length of this and be like, I'm not watching that. But yeah. Anyways, thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'm going to try to do these every Friday. I'll try. Like I said, I will not be able to do it this coming Friday because I will not be here. I will be in Chicago. So, yeah. But with that, I am out. Later.